once upon a time, if you had a great idea for a new product, widget, invention, whatever you want to call it, you could take a few $1,000s and invest in a patent application for that idea. And then you could go out and you could make a bunch of noise about how great your idea was, and it was just a matter of time until some big company, some Google or Monsanto or Intel would come along and buy or license that idea from you, and you would never have to worry about money again. Or at least that's how the story goes. From my perspective in commercializing medical devices at Mercy Research, this sounds a lot like a fairy tale. But even if there was a time in which this was at all a plausible scenario, those days are over. We live in a world that is awash in great ideas. To give you an example, we can look at the top universities in the United States. These are really supposed to be microcosms of great idea generation, right? So if we look at the top universities over the last decade in which we have reliable data, and we look at the number of patents that are being applied for at those universities, what we see is a pretty dramatic increase in trend, around 80% increase in patent applications over that period of time, with kind of an accelerating trend. It's increasing year over year. If we then contrast that to the number of licenses and options for those patents, and this is the kind of activity that would indicate that big companies are swooping in and buying or licensing those patents, we find that the trend is much more flat, increasing over that same period of time by only around half. And at Mercy Research, even just anecdotally, when we go out and look for commercial partners to take the medical devices and healthcare products that we're developing to market, when we approach big players, they tend to say the same thing to us. They want products, not ideas. And when they say product, what they mean is something that's on the market and making money. And when they say idea, they mean everything else. So it doesn't matter whether you have a patent. It doesn't matter whether you have a prototype. It doesn't even matter if you have a manufactured part. If you haven't actually sold that thing to somebody, you don't have a product. So we live in this world with an excess supply of great ideas and weak demand. And so basic economics would tell us that these ideas, even great ones, have diminishing value. Or in other words, our ideas are worthless. Now, this leads us to a little bit of a paradox, because great ideas are the basis of innovation. And everyone wants to be innovative, right? So there's huge demand for innovation. There are people with innovation in their job titles. There are departments at companies solely dedicated to innovation, whatever that means. So how can great ideas be so worthless while innovation is so in demand? To answer that question, I want to take a step back and think a little bit about what innovation is. If I were to just throw out the most basic definition I could think of, I would say that innovation is solving a problem in a new way that's never been done before. It's pretty basic. So to do that, you really need three things. You need an understanding of the problem and some idea of how to solve it. You need technology, and I don't just mean the fastest supercomputers or the fanciest new smartphones. Whatever those tools are that you need to enable you to solve that problem. And then you need creative thinking. You need to be able to think outside the box. Look at the problem and how to solve it in a new and unique way. And when you put all these three things together, what you have are new ideas for how to solve a problem. Except when I defined innovation a second ago, I didn't say it was new ideas for how to solve a problem. I said it was solving the problem. And so my little formula here is missing one critical component: effective execution. You got this great idea? Awesome. Now, if you have to, raise some money, put together some resources, and build something. Make your idea into something real, refine it, make it better, and then put it in the hands of a user. Sell it to a customer, and even better, sell it to lots of customers. Scale. Put this product in the hands of people all over the nation, all over the world, and then you'll have real impact on that problem you're trying to solve. So if we go back to our university example here, we find that this is a lesson that they are learning. When we look at the number of startups formed inside the universities, while the numbers are still fairly small, they're increasing pretty dramatically, around 80%, and accelerating rapidly too. And anecdotally, again, at Mercy Research, we no longer look at the big companies, the Medtronics, the Johnson & Johnsons, as viable commercialization partners, because they're going to give us that products, not ideas line over and over and over again. So we focus on small businesses, on spinning our medical technologies out into new startup companies. And it's that effective execution, that entrepreneurship and commercialization, which is where great ideas really take flight. So I've made it sound like it's really easy. You just go get some money and you just go put a product out there and people will buy it. But it's definitely not. It's a complex, messy process. It tends to be different project to project. And perhaps worst of all, there's no handbook. There's no ABCD success, step-by-step guide. Instead, it's really an experiential learning process. You have to try it, probably fail, try again, repeat. And sometimes repeat and repeat and repeat. And so, if I were to leave you with one concluding thought, to kind of echo Todd earlier, I would say, just go out and do it. It doesn't matter whether you're selling hand-knitted mittens on Etsy, or you're commercializing a Class 3 medical device, or you're creating the next revolution in sustainable energy. Find something that you love, that you're passionate about, that you're knowledgeable about. Take that idea that you've been sitting on for months, if not years, that would solve a real problem, and just go out there and do it. At worst, you will fail, and it'll be a hard-won learning experience, and hopefully that's as bad as it gets. But at best, your venture will succeed, and your ideas will change the world, and they will, as it turns out, not be so worthless after all. Thank you very much.